3 knives, 3 price points, same brand. Let's break it down. So this is a knives video where I talk about the differences between the Spyderco Tenacious, the Endura, and the Paramilitary 2. I think if you're looking into getting into Spyderco, you're seeing a lot of their different knives and you're thinking they all look kind of similar, but God, the price difference is insane. So to start out, this is the Tenacious at about $55. This is the Endura, runs about $90 plus, $100 plus. And this is the flagship Paramilitary 2, running $200 plus depending on the variation. So we're just going to dive right into this and kind of talk about what you're getting for your money on each of them. So Spyderco Tenacious, this is their budget entry model. This is made in China. It's running 8CR13 MOV steel. It's got G10 handles, pretty nice G10 handles at that. 4-way adjustable pocket clip, and it's a liner lock. Ergonomically, this thing's awesome, super comfortable. This is my first Spyderco, by the way. I remember way back in like early 2010s or maybe even before that, seeing Nothing Fancy reviewing this knife. And I was thinking, man, for the money, I got to get that. And I'm pretty sure, guys, it was about the same price then as it is today, right around $50. And it's comfortable. It gets the job done. It's great. What makes it so affordable? The biggest thing is, country of origin, made in China, and then the steel. 8CR13 it works. It's going to sharpen well. It's going to sharpen quick. It'll take a pretty good edge, but it's not going to hold an edge for very long. I sharpened this on a Friday to a razor sharp edge. Took it to work. Opened a few boxes on Saturday. Got a little dirty, all that, and I'll try and demonstrate here. You can hear it. It's trying to cut. It'll still kind of shave. It's there, but I hardly use this thing, and it's taken a lot to shave compared to, when I got it. So edge retention is not great. You're going to be sharpening this thing a lot, but at an entry level price point, hard to beat. You don't need diamond stones. You don't need CBN. You don't need anything fancy to sharpen it. You could just use a pull-through sharpener if that's what you're into and that's the level you're at. It's going to work just fine for that kind of use. So great budget build. It hits very, what I'm trying to say, it punches way above its weight class for the $55. This is a great knife, not to be overlooked. And we'll leave it open so you can kind of compare sizes as we go. This is the Spyderco Endura. This is a legendary knife, legendary design. Seki City, Japan is where it's made. These come in a variety of steels, but the most common one you're going to find is VG10. It's got plastic, fiberglass reinforced handles. Spyderco calls them an FRN. It's kind of got this cool omni grip texture pattern, very grippy in multiple directions. And it's a back lock. So, no liner lock on this, nothing crazy, very traditional in that sense. And a lot of people are into that. It's kind of, buck 110 style, super clean, super simple to work. You can definitely do it one-handed, like a liner lock or whatever, but it takes a little bit more getting used to. VG10 steel, very well rounded. It's going to hold a good edge. It's got good corrosion resistance. It sharpens up well, sharpens up easy. By no means is it a premium super steel by today's standard, but it gets the job done, and it's hard to complain about, honestly. It's very well rounded and it works well. You can find this particular knife in a bunch of different colors and different FRN colors. You can find it in a full flat grind blade. You can find it in this style 3/4 or saber grind, full serrations, no serrations, partial serrations. It's got a couple different variations to it, which is nice. And again, 4-way adjustable pocket clip. You can see the 3 pocket screw holes all throughout. This particular Endura is pretty big. This is the 4-inch blade model. I don't know where it went. I had a Delica sitting here. You know, they make the police. Look at that. That dwarfs everything on this table, which is of the same Seki City, you know, line. This is just a bigger version. It's like over 4 inches, and this is just under 4 inches. So they make the police that's bigger. I don't know where my Delica is. I just had it, but you know, this is pretty close. This is a leaf jumper. It's a little bigger than a Delica, but the point I'm trying to make is this, you know, it's not just the Endura. They've got knives that are bigger than it. They've got knives that are smaller than it. And they're all like in that same like $90 to $100 price point. And they're all going to suit you very well. This is just what I have. And in my mind, this is kind of the standard for, you know, the Spyderco Seki City line is the Endura. It's what I was introduced to, what I grew up on. It's what I've used and carried. But they've got other options for you. So, you know, side by side, you know, it's definitely, it's bigger than the Tenacious. Very, you know, it's longer, but it's definitely narrower, and it's definitely more slim. Standout things about the Endura is it will disappear in your pocket. It's super slim when it folds up. It's a big knife when it opens, but that thing is super slender. In a way, it's got some kind of gentleman-like knife, you know, attributes to it, just with its, you know, aesthetic, its slenderness, how it disappears in the pocket. It carries very well, and it is light. You know, it's got nested steel liners in there, guys, but it really is light for what it is. You know, these are great knives for the money. You can't go wrong. It's nothing special, but it's a great piece of Spyderco history, Spyderco heritage, and it's going to serve you well, whatever you kind of use it for. Very slicey, very stabby, good all-around large EDC knife. Moving up in the world, this is the flagship for Spyderco, the absolute flagship, the legendary Paramilitary 2. This is what you're seeing all over the internet. This is what you're seeing all over social media, all the reels, all the whatever. This is a trendy knife, and for good reason. This one's decked out in some aluminum scales, so you can kind of ignore that. The normal variation of this is going to come in a G10 material, very much like the Tenacious, like almost identical to the Tenacious, honestly. But the Paramilitary 2, made in Golden, Colorado, US of A. Isn't that great? The standard ones you're going to find these days come in S45 VN steel, which is a premium American powder steel with boasting, you know, really good edge retention, really good corrosion resistance. It sharpens, you know, it can be tough to sharpen, but with modern sharpening technology, it works just fine, and it's definitely tough enough for EDC use. It is a very good steel, what you're getting with S45VN. This particular one is in Rex 45, which is more of a tool steel. I'll get into all that, you know, momentarily. But the Paramilitary 2 is the knife. But you know, with that, it comes with a hefty price tag of $200+. Sometimes you can find the base models, the S45VNs on sale. Sometimes you'll even find like dealer exclusives running really good deals on special variations with cool colors and different steels for under that even. But for the most part, you're looking at least, you know, $200 for one of these. But, you know, again, what do you get with that? You get a premium steel, even at the most base model. You get G10 handles that come in a whole bunch of different colors and patterns. Even they started making cool patterns with it. If you normally do also get a 4-way adjustable pocket clip. These particular scales are just, you know, drilled out for just what do you call it, right hand tip up carry, which is killer. But what was it? Losing my train of thought here. Super customizable, super modular. There's tons of aftermarket support for scales, for hardware, for clips. This has an MXG deep carry clip. Like this one's been pretty modded out, you know, scales and clip. So kind of ignore that, but it's just an example of what you can do with these things. You can build them any way you like. The blades you can get them in a DLC diamond light coating, so they'll be black. You even find some like PVD coated ones in different colors. Like they're They come from the factory in every imaginable specification. And, cherry on top with this knife is the compression lock. So it pretty much, you pinch it, the knife drops shut. It's super easy to access, super easy to get to. Fidgety is the big flashy word here. You can just play with this thing all day long. I have a terrible habit of flicking knives open while I drive. It drives my wife crazy, but it's just kind of my pastime. It's what I do, right? But you could just do that all day long. Just flick that thing. And that is something that you do not get with these other knives. You can play with them. You can open and close them, whatever. But this has fidgetability. If you're into fidget knives, this is a great blend of pure fidgetness and then also like very functional lock. It opens one-handed very easily, closes one-handed very easily. You can flick it, you can pinch it and flick it open. You can reverse flick it super easily. It's super smooth. Other thing I'll say about all these is they all run on phosphor bronze washers. Nothing here runs on bearings. And all that means is it's kind of like a bronze washer that's, I guess technically phosphor bronze is self-lubricating, whatever, but it's a very clean and simple way to allow that blade to travel smoothly, as it's moving from, the closed position to the open position. And on this particular model in the Paramilitary, it's like butter. When you engage or disengage that lock, that blade just flies open, drops shut. Feels like there's zero friction at all. So I don't know. I hope that kind of gives you guys an idea of like what you are getting with each of these. There's definitely a big price jump, like this, the Paramilitary 2 is easily, 4 times the price of the Tenacious. And a lot of people are going to look at the Tenacious, be like, well, that's fine. It cuts, doesn't it? Absolutely, it does. But if you're going to kind of get into the nitty gritty stuff, like, well, this being made in USA, what's the premium you're going to put on that? Like, it's significant. It's going to cost quite a bit more to have a knife made in the United States than in China. And then you get into stuff like the steels, 8 CR13 MOV is super cheap Chinese-made steel. It's, to be quite honest, I don't even know why knife makers even put it on knives anymore. There's way better options out there. That's definitely like a down thing to the Tenacious, is that it's pretty lame steel, but there's plenty of people out there who don't care. They just want to get into Spyderco. They want something with a thumb hole. They think it looks cool. They want to check it out. That's great. This is my first Spyderco. It's very much a gateway drug. I tell you, you're going to get this and you're going to be like, man, I want to try something else. And you'll kind of work your way up this Spyderco ladder a little bit. Materials, I like G10 a lot. I love the feel of this FRN. You get up to the Paramilitary 2 and it's going to be G10 again, and it's great. But like I said, there's tons of aftermarket support for especially the Paramilitary 2, but really both of these. Tenacious, probably the least amount of aftermarket support, but there's stuff out there for the Endura, and there's tons of stuff out there for the Paramilitary. So, I think there's a Spyderco knife out there for everybody. But again, this video is more just, which one of these would suit you best? Which one of these, if you're out there looking for a Spyderco, is something you think you should look at? If you think, which one you think you would like to carry. So I'll kind of end with that question. Of these 3, maybe you already have a Spyderco and, maybe you've got all 3 Spydercos, but which one's your favorite? Which one would you carry and why? There's no wrong answers here. Variety is the spice of life. All these knives are different in different ways, and they excel in different ways, whether that's purely monetarily or, form factor, all those things. Different sizes, different pros, different cons. I know for me personally, I'm going to pick the Paramilitary 2 every single day over these 2, just because I've grown to love it. I could say so much more, but I'm trying to keep this short and sweet. They're all great knives. They're all going to get the job done. They're all going to cut at the end of the day. But, I'm going to pick this because it's American made. It's built great construction quality. I am a geek for really nice steel. I love it. And then of course that compression lock all day long, guys. That is so hard to beat. But no wrong answers. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what you want to try. Let me know what you have and what you don't have. Give me a like, give me a follow, give me a subscription, give me a subscribe, press that subscribe button. What do people say in these videos? I don't know, something like that. Anyways, guys, this is Cole signing off. Have a good night.